We're simplifying rational expressions. So when you look at this, you're like, whoa. But it's not a big deal. We've been doing a lot of factoring lately, and this is the reason why. So for us to simplify that, we're going to have to factor the numerator first. So finding the greatest common factor between 4m and 40, we get 4 as the greatest common factor. And you know, as soon as you have the greatest common factor, you're going to have to divide both of these guys right here by the greatest common factor. And then you get m minus 10 right there. And then there's nothing you can do about the denominator, so you just leave it like it is. Now, when you have the same thing on the numerator and the same compared to the denominator, you can divide or cancel out. I like saying divide because that's what you're doing. When you're dividing, you get a 1, and that's a good thing. Or when you cancel out, they go bye-bye. You know, whatever you want to tell yourself. But 4 is the only thing that is left over after you divide these guys right there. So finding the greatest common factor for your numerator, you don't have one, so you just copy that down. If you want to put parentheses here, great, but you don't have to. I like to because I know that these guys go together. They go together. Greatest common factor between these two is g, and you know greatest common factor will have to divide right there. So 5g minus 8. Now good thing, top and bottom are the same. Now you cannot leave your answer like that. That's why I keep saying that when you divide that, you get a 1. It's not a 0 or it's not blank. You have to remember that when you're simplifying everybody. Number 3, we have to factor. Good thing the leading coefficient right here is 1, so you can factor that mentally. So two numbers that multiply and will give you positive 16, the same two numbers that will add up to negative 10. So minus 8 and minus 2. Denominator, there's nothing you can do about that, so leave it as is. And lucky us, we can simplify those guys. X minus 8 is your final answer. Oh, you can see, can you? Right there. All right. Number 4 would take a little more work, but it's the same idea. That's why I start easy, because I know you guys have the good background to factor as you see. So I'm going to number that. I'm going to start out by factoring number 1 right there. So 3x squared plus 13x plus 14. GCF. We don't have a GCF between those people. So I'm going to multiply the leading coefficient by 14. Now I can factor mentally. So two numbers that multiply to 42 and the same two numbers that add up to 13. So 7 and 6. Because you started out by multiplying by 3, you have to come back here and divide by 3 to undo what you did. Simplify the fraction. You can't simplify. So the denominator right there goes right back in the front. So 3x plus 7. Simplify that, you get 2. So x plus 2. So we did all this work just to simplify our numerator right there. So I'm going to go back here and plug in my numerator. All right. Now off to the side, I still need to deal with the denominator. So number 2 right there. Greatest common factor. We don't have one. So multiply the first one by the last. Two numbers that multiply will give you 441. The same two numbers will add up to 42. is 21. Because you started out by multiplying by 9, you have to come back here and divide by 9. Before you bring that up to the front, you have to simplify that fraction. So you're going to simplify that by 3. You get 7 on top, 3 on the bottom. 7 on top, 3 on the bottom. Now you're going to bring this 3 right there in the front. So we did all this work to do with the denominator right there. All right, so I can simplify these guys. There's nothing I can do about those, so that's going to be my leftover. That's going to be my final answer. So x plus 2, 3x plus 7. You can choose to put parentheses around it or not. I want to, just because. Final answer right there. Now we're going to do IXL and 4.